Hello.
Hello. Lee and Sherry here.
Sherry and Lee.
I like that. It's got a good ring to it.
Yes, I think it does. Maybe we should change it on YouTube.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. We're here to talk to you today about fear.
Forget everything and run. Fear. When I think about the word fear,
I just got that, by the way. I did. I'm sorry. We're not teaching you to forget everything and run. I don't know why I came up with that.
well, we're going to talk about fear because I would say that we lived mainly through that.
For a long time.
Yeah?
In the 40s of years.
40-some years. Wow.
For you, in the 20-some years for me.
Okay, well then since yours was shorter, why don't you go ahead and start the video?
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying.
Since you've lived it longer, perhaps you should start.
Well, here's what my philosophy is on fear. My philosophy on fear is that it's mind-made. It's the experience or the mental movie your mind will play to make you very uncomfortable about every little thing imaginable that could go wrong, and something that you envision, something you want to do, something you don't want to do. If fear is no, I don't think there's any other way to put it. It's mind-made. It's for an experience that hasn't already happened, because there's a difference between something that hasn't already happened and what actually happens. When something happens, you usually don't have any words other than ah, or you already are, scared. Scared is not the same thing as fear. Fear will make it impossible to love somebody.
Fear will make it impossible for you to love yourself.
Ooh.
But I can wrap this up real quick.
Oh, okay.
I can. I mean,
all
it'll take 2.2 seconds. Fear is a liar. The end. Talk to you guys later.
That's wait a minute. Well, we talked a lot about. Damn. I mean, really, that could be the end of the video. We really probably don't need to say any more than that.
Mm-hmm. What are you afraid of?
Well,
what's the worst that can happen?
It's probably the best way to say it is you're afraid of fear.
You're scared of fear.
Scared of fear, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because in that moment that you have fear, remember it's a mental movie, it scares you.
I heard a little kid one time say, "I'm not going to get on the roller coaster. I'm scared that I'm going to be afraid."
We hear people say that about loving somebody.
Yes. Because they associate pain with love.
Say that again.
They associate pain with love.
So, how do you mean?
Well, let's talk personally for a minute because we can't speak for anybody else. When I was raised and I was disciplined to the extreme, or I was being sexually molested or anything like that, I would associate fear or pain with love. I was supposed to be being loved, but it was painful. Any abusive situation, domestic violence, you associate pain with love. And therefore you start to fear love or being loved.
So fear, would you say, is associated, or is part of the pain family?
It's part
but
of
not
it.
necessarily. And that pain is, of course, there's no opposites to pain and love, but you're right, it almost sounds like it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because if the events don't play out in that way, it can't be love.
Yeah, you have fear that you're going to be hurt. or you're going to be in a painful situation.
Hmm.
So therefore, you act or react in a way that you normally wouldn't if there were no fear. You know, no fear, if you associate it with standing on a bungee platform and not even having your heart racing, just jumping without even questioning, just jumping with no fear of death or the bungee cord's going to break or you're going to smack the water or the cement. No fear, just jump. But we aren't able to do that because the mind comes in and the mind says something could happen, this could happen, that could happen, you may lose your life right now, this could hurt, so many things could go wrong. So then you begin to fear pain.
Suffering. Yeah, okay. So fear is a lie. Yeah, no, that's...
Fear is a liar, pain is a liar. I said pain is a liar.
Yeah,
fear is a liar.
You said fear's a liar, and you're right. I mean, if you think about
They're
it...
They're both liars, but anyway.
And even when you do think about it, the mind says, no, we can't say that because that can't be true. We need to hold on to fear because that's how we live our lives. That's how we do our day-to-day things. That's how we interact with people. Yes, we interact in fear. And even fear says, hey, you know what? I could say this or that and evoke fear in the people so they'll stay away from that. They do that. I mean, horror movie, perfect example. Don't go see that movie because it was scary. And then there's a little sudden amount of you that hears the story of what they're trying to tell you, then it becomes fear-based or not fear-based in you. It's almost like you do see the choice, but most of the time you'll gravitate to the word fear, which is going to be the lie because you haven't experienced it for yourself to even know if it's the truth.
Here's what we get in couples counseling a lot, and it's a little tiny excerpt of what fear does. Well, we had this big argument last night because I liked a friend's Facebook post that was the opposite sex. Just hit the like button. Just the like button. The other person steps in with fear that the other person's going to take notice to their partner and take them away.
That's not real.
It's not real at all.
Not real. It's not real at all. You know what? You know how you know it's not real because
Your partner might want to be taken away from that kind of irrational behavior.
Well, and the part of that irrational behavior is injected because of a fear-based belief, and fear identifies itself with that belief. Fear identifies itself with a couple of different things. One of the first things that it will identify itself with is a core feeling. The core feeling could be pain. It could be an unsettling feeling in your stomach, an opening of your heart, a pounding in your head, a dizziness in your head. Some of those can also, and then now there's got to be something that the mind has got to come in to do, and which is to tell a story about why those things are happening. Sometimes we're pointing outside when the only truth you could ever point to is inside you, because that's going to tell you what you're identifying with. And when you've done that, then here comes the mind or the ego, and it wants to label it and put content into it. Then it can rise that level of feeling, so it can make it spike. That would be fear. And fear, of course, comes in many different forms. We've seen fear make grown men cry. We've seen fear make grown women lose their mind. We've seen it all, and then we've experienced it all. And fear, I think fear, if you look at where the baseline is for fear, it's always going to be something that you're going to add to, not be of.
Right.
Right?
But
like
yes.
when you're saying pain, you're going to add something to pain that actually creates the story for fear.
Yeah, and the mind actually causes this stacking effect of, I don't like dogs because they bite. And the mind will pile on things. Dogs maul and kill people, and I can't be around dogs. And then for years and years and years, this is dogs, spiders, whatever, toilet paper, anything. People have fears of all types of things, and we're not taking away from that. It's what the mind is telling you that could happen if you come in contact with this thing that you fear. It's a stackable, what's the word I'm using? It's a stackable fear. This piles on different scenarios over and over and over again of something very, very minor to begin with.
When we finally got together in 2009, you had fear in me, and I had no fear at all.
Mm-hmm.
And your fear was generated off of the truth. Is that possible?
That is very possible.
And even as you kept trying to look for things and find things, and you realized that you had to walk into that to figure out if your fear was real, what did you find?
I created it and made it real.
Did I ever do anything, or did
No,
you?
no, I did it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, as you can see, fear has a very significant power. And even when we came back together in 2012, I had this fear. And then I had to have it removed because she now was standing in her truth. Thing is once you know the complete truth, or you know the truth, the fear is what rises to try to give you the false or the lie. Like she said, fear is a liar. If you have something that is concrete, the truth, and you're still looking for things in it, in here, you're going to find that somehow or another your ego will create an identity or a situation or a way of thinking to create something that is fear-based. Is that right?
Yeah.
So when we started, it was hard to catch. Fear is a very hard thing to catch when it's real time, because the anxiety starts up, and then all of a sudden when you have the anxiety, like we said, something attaches itself to it. And it's just another form of pain that really isn't a part of or associated to love. And then what you got to do is you got to look at it. You got to look at it and identify with it and become very present and very aware of what it's trying to give you. Because if it's trying to give you an excuse to shut down, not share what you're communicating, lie to the other person, lie to yourself, it has a lot to do with that anxiety and how it identifies with its sense of self.
If you actually find the root of the pain, go in and find where the fear stems from, it usually is something that happened before that your mind has stacked more fear on top of and made it into this big elaborate phobia or fear of something. I feared that you were going to, obviously in the beginning of our journey, I feared that you would never be able to be faithful to anybody. So why would I put myself in that situation? Why would I be with somebody like that? And in reality, what I did was create a scenario where I wasn't faithful, because I was going to hurt you. When you did hurt me, I could hurt you back.
But my fear-based was that I couldn't be loved if I was faithful. So, as you can see, the way that I was saying it gave her permission to do the other. Hope you followed that. But it did. And that's the way that fear works. Especially when your vibration or the way that you're connected to each other shows you what you're doing to yourself. And in this particular case, that is a great definition of it. My biggest fear that whole time, while I was making the choice to do the things I was doing, my reason for not stopping at a certain point was because I believed that all people couldn't be faithful. And there, you will have that belief in you, and then when you break that belief, the fear will set in trying to create that belief or get that belief back in place, because that's the way the ego protects you. So when I no longer identified with it and no longer had the thought process for it, I still had the hidden fear that I wasn't going to be loved completely and faithfully for the way that I could love. Which in essence meant that's exactly what I was doing to myself. So when you remove that kind of energy, because remember, that creates an energy field.
Oh, and sometimes people go into hives and itching and panic attacks
Yeah.
over an ant
But
or an elephant
the
or
energy,
death,
the energy field is there.
or you know what I mean, or that energy field is very powerful and very strong. And if you think of this, if you're trying to fix a relationship with a significant other or a union, and somebody's running and somebody's chasing, you have this fear they're never going to come back. Think and feel the energy that you're putting out there. They're never coming back. What energy are they receiving?
I'm not coming back.
What do I got to come back to? Fear.
Doesn't matter. You're not coming back.
You know what I mean?
That's.
I find myself sometimes when I do fear something that I go through this process in my brain and try to calm my mind down. And what's the worst thing that could happen? I mean, death is normally the worst thing that could happen, and actually that's probably not so bad.
Why we fear death? Oh, that's right. It's mind created.
Right.
We're afraid that when we lose our mind, that's it. We're gone. You're right. And when you finally embrace that, it's a very humbling feeling where there's no more need for fear. There's none. That doesn't mean you don't go to something else, or I'm not even going to say what I feel that is, but you can feel it. There's an inner peace to it. Fear has done some immaculate things too, because fear does, just like it'll do the thing of making you make different choices, it'll also make you make yourself miserable, and it'll make you suffer. And then what you'll do is you'll take the energy of negativity and you'll attack people with it. That's what fear can do. And we've watched, we have very close family and friends and even clients who, why can somebody do this and do that? And they don't realize that just even making those statements and saying those words and then making themselves a victim is fear-based.
Fear of what?
That those things are exactly why they happen.
Right.
That's what you're worth. That's what you come down to. And it's a lie. You are more. Even with the stuff that you go through, even with the stuff that you say to people, even the negativity you use, you're more than that. Always been more. Don't fear it. Be it. I'm just saying. What have you got to lose by being positive? What have you got to lose by just saying fear's not real? You can fear that, all your friends are going to be gone tomorrow. All the people who come to you are going to be gone tomorrow. And what's that going to give you? Anxiety, nervous tension, negativity, a reason to do whatever it is whatever it is that comes out of your mouth that could be negative, that could be seen as being an attack, an abuse, or anything else. It doesn't make any sense. It's fear.
Who was it that said the only thing we have to fear is fear itself? Who was it that?
I don't know, but man, that's brilliant.
It was a president, and
yeah, I know. I think it was John F. Kennedy.
And he's probably passed, and forgive me for not saying his name, but I believe it may have been John F. Kennedy.
Yeah. It was the correct statement. You could make everything labeled into that. And when you go, I fear this, just remember to put that statement right after it. The only thing I have fear of is fear itself. Once you really think about fear itself, you now have to attach a story to it, and that's what happens. I think what we found that helps, if you're watching this and you want to know, how do you go in and really look and identify with fear?
Oh.
Ooh, let there be light. One of the
it was
things,
getting kind of dark.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah. Well, we had the supermoon, and it was doing a good job.
Perhaps we should turn on the light. And he's like, no, we've got plenty of light.
Well, it's the supermoon. It was doing great. Anyway, the fear of some people.
The fear of moonlight.
The what I was saying was is you what we can tell you about fear that we know in our truth is that it also has a lot to do with what she said when pain equals love. If you find that you can separate your pain and then take the love and put it in the center of it, then you'll see the truth about positive and negative energy. Positive energy is always going to be there. And we associate positive with a statement in the head. We associate negative with a statement in the head. If you remove both of the statements and just looked at them just as pure energy, what you're going to find is that when you put that in the center of pain, is you create space. And there's no need to fear that. Never has been. And it's very amazing when you do. You find that you don't have to have fear, doubt, misery.
I mean, it certainly doesn't mean you go through life and you just drive your car through every red light because you're fearless, or
You're taking the fun out of this.
you live your life recklessly, and that doesn't mean that. It just means, obviously follow all of the traffic laws.
Why are you laughing about
I don't know. I just envisioned people saying, "Screw it, I have no fear," and just,
thanks, Lee and Sherry.
and just taking off and never stopping.
Please don't.
Please don't do that.
No, but that also doesn't mean doing that in every aspect of your life either. That doesn't mean rushing right in.
I mean, don't go associate with a pack of bears or coyotes because you have no fear. I mean, I really see people doing crazy things.
Well, there's a difference between fear and caution.
Right. Yeah, there it is. Please use caution. We're not asking you to fear, we're just asking you to be a little cautious.
Just
For heaven's
a little.
sake.
A little. I mean, a little goes a long way in this particular case. But we are also telling you don't identify fear with a thought process because you're missing the present moment when you do. You need help.
I had visions.
Yes, you did.
People streaking naked through the streets.
Oh, Lord.
There is jail.
Yeah.
I promise. Oh, for heaven's sakes. But as I was saying earlier in the video, fear is a liar. It's probably the biggest liar of them all.
Do you think it helps create lies too?
Oh, yeah.
Like inside,
I believe
inside
it's
of
the
somebody.
only thing that creates lies. One of the only things that creates lies. Because if there were no fear, why would we create lies in the first place? Fear of, you come back with a whole bunch of stuff you bought at the mall, right? And you hide some of it in the car for fear that you don't want to get bitched at by spending money or frivolous shopping. I hate to shop, so you never have to worry about me doing that. But if the fear wasn't there, the lie wouldn't be there.
Yeah. And there could come to a point where you go, okay, I can remove my own fear. And I can tell you, it can be done. And it can be done in the most profound way. We did it without any help, without any guidance, without looking on the internet, without watching any videos. We did it. And we did the inner work that came along with it. Because we were not in this world to be made up of lies. We were in this world to be made up of the truth. And that could only come from your heart. It doesn't take a doctor or a scientist or a congressman or a military person or even just somebody you know. It really doesn't even take that. It just takes you and takes the ability to go inside. Sometimes it's best if you do it in a way that you can feel accepted and embraced for what that lie is trying to make you see. Just know that if you're seeking validation of any kind because of something that's going on inside you, remove the fear.
I had a fear just now I was going to sneeze, and it just happened.
Bless you.
I had a fear that I was going to lose brain cells when I sneezed, and I did.
And you did. You shot them all over the window.
I feel less intelligent now than I felt 10 minutes.
That's okay.
10 seconds ago.
Did that make sense though?
Made perfect sense.
Okay, so because I think there has to be a certain amount of validation. Actually, you have to validate fear. You have to validate the lie.
Fear has to be validated. That's important.
You got to validate the lie.
Yeah.
And if you find yourself validating the lie, it only makes the fear bigger, and makes the ego in fear bigger.
Oh.
Yeah, the ego in fear.
In fear. Yeah.
Yeah, because the ego doesn't really gravitate to fear. It looks at it and says, "Ooh, food," and then it goes over there and starts eating.
Oh.
That was a good mental picture for it, wasn't it?
That was great.
Yeah.
Sometimes he comes up with that's things.
Sometimes it just falls out of my mouth. I don't even know where it comes from. I mean, I do, but I don't. I guess what we need to really say to you is this. You're not a liar. Tell the truth. Remove fear. That's all it is. Then you'll know if you've removed it, because there won't be any negative intent to it.
It really is amazing how fear always comes with a lie. I mean, that's boggling my mind right now, because if there were no lies, there wouldn't be much fear. If there were no fear, there wouldn't be much lies. They really are hand in hand.
They really are.
They really are. Because if you tell the truth and you're completely honest all the time, you have nothing to fear. And then...
and you tell your truth.
Yeah, you're right.
You can't tell other people.
Right. and you can't change other people. You can only change yourself. You know, there are times that I fear my own energy when I'm around certain family members. Oh, gosh, let's hope they're not watching. They'll know who they are. Anyway, no, I'm just joking. However, then I have to realize that, you know what, that fear is a lie, because I can't change other people. I can only change me and the way that I react.
That's where that statement, if you can't change the people you're with, change the people you're with. Or you can't change the people around you, then change the people around you. I mean, that just falls true with that, you know. If you don't like watching this YouTube channel, you can change the channel. I mean, that's kind of how that works. You know, it's not that anybody is doing anything other than, you know, giving beautiful, powerful messages of what we did to each other.
Right.
In fear.
Right.
And when we stop doing that, ta-da! I'm gonna marry you.
That's happening.
Oh yeah, we're so excited. But anyway, we won't go into that because this is about fear.
Do you fear that?
No.
I thought while he was on camera, I might have.
No. I definitely don't fear. You know what? I'll tell you what I do fear.
I fear your socks won't match. That's it.
Here's what I do fear. I do fear that the days are going to start to slow down, and it's just not going to get here fast enough.
Yeah, put that into motion. Why don't you?
See, now that's perfect. That will make it speed up.
Right.
Well, I mean, if I'm fearing it. Ooh, see, you can use it in the opposite too, once you learn how to manipulate it. Because it can be manipulated when you realize that you put the truth in it.
Oh, for heaven's sakes, good manipulation, not bad manipulation. I see people trying to manipulate stuff.
Yeah, oh, no, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase what I'm saying.
Let's not do that.
You can embrace and hold the energy that causes the fear and change it by putting the truth in place for you to utilize it to do wonderful things. Help others. Be there for others. Compassionately listen to yourself and others. The truth.
What is the fear telling you? You stop and think about that statement. What is the fear telling you?
Well, what does the fear want you to believe in?
Ah, yes. What does the fear want you to believe? That's powerful, because can you imagine what kind of world we could live in if there was much less fear and just freedom and honesty and peace?
And negativity would go away.
Oh,
the way that we use
so
negativity would
much.
go away. We would use negativity for more positive results.
You know, we fear they're going to bomb us, so we build more weapons. We fear we're going to be attacked.
We fear that people don't like us.
Yeah, I mean, so much fear. We fear all kinds of things, and it's a lie. It's all a lie. That's when that hit me a few years ago. That was so enlightening to me. That it's a lie. It's all a lie that your mind creates to keep you in bondage. In some type of bondage, in some type of locked up.
I think we've been in prison long enough. Free your mind. Free yourself from your mind. Then learn to utilize the energy I was talking about before to get to the truth. Fear is a liar.
Fear is a liar. That's it.
Yeah. No other stronger message than that. If you identify with a fear, see the story behind it, remove the story. Then face the present moment. Because most of the time fear is far away, or it was something that was back there.
Most people fear their past, and they fear talking about it, and it's already happened. What is there to fear? It's not going to happen again.
Yeah. Can you think about it? Sorry.
You're coughing and sneezing.
I like this one. I like this one. I fear that what happened to me is going to happen to me again. Come on. Listen to that statement. Is it the truth, or is it a lie? What you're saying is that you've built a time machine, you and Marty McFly. Yeah, Doc, I'm talking to you. And now you're going to go back to the past to repeat the same behavior. Repeat the same thing to happen over again. That's a lie, and it's not real. It's just not real.
It's a lie. And that's all I've got to say about that.
Fear. Damn liar.
When you find yourself in fear, if you remember nothing else, remember that it's a lie. That fear is a lie.
Then find the truth and hold on to the truth. And if the truth gives you anxiety, let the truth give you an anxiety, because creating a lie on top of it is fear. But embrace it. Embrace it fully. You'll notice that over the moment that you do that completely, you remove fear. Well, we hope you enjoyed this today. And if you have any more questions about fear, we're right here.
You know where to find us. We love you guys. Thank you for watching.
Bye-bye.
Bye.